Eight-time winners from 12 FA Cup finals, Manchester United met this year's final opponents, Everton, at Wembley in 1985, when a goal from Norman Whiteside secured the trophy for United in extra time. United, like Everton, were drawn at home in 3 of the rounds leading up to the semi-final at Villa Park. A win over Crystal Palace coming after a replay. Their away tie in round 3 at Sheffield United was never going to be easy. Teams managed by Dave Bassett will always be tough opposition. Sheffield, one of the favourites for promotion from the First Division, coped with the better swirling wind and soon had Schmeichel in action.
Beyond him, and Blake was chasing in.
But he didn't realise, Blake, he wasn't offside, Martin. He had a look and he checked his run. And he just felt, had he spun and run at the ball, he would have got there before Schmeichel.
There is Viet. Who impressed Sheffield United when they were on tour in Australia. Rodgers. Hodges, it's a lovely touch for Blake. They can't follow it in. Schmeichel right back on the line. The final touch towards the goal came from Hodges.
Well, this is unlucky. There's shades of offside there against Whitehouse, but Blake gets that well. I thought the wind was just going to take it in there. They clear it and hits Hodges. And there's the day. And you say goalkeepers need luck sometimes, Martin. Well, he certainly enjoyed his fair share this moment, Peter Schmeichel. Particularly at that moment. Straight into his arm.
Viet. He's quick. Trying to get into a stride here. A link up with Blake. Rodgers round the outside. Viet's continued his run into the centre. Down goes Blake. Big appeals for a penalty from Sheffield United, not given by Robbie Hart. They run to the referee.
Tell you what, man, I'd like to see that again. As he knocks it down, he gets in front of Steve Bruce. There's his touch. There's Bruce on the knee. You can see that quite clearly. And I think Manchester United get lucky there. That's a penalty in my book.
Cantona. Here's Butt. Well, there's a fiery side to Mickey Butt's nature, and there's a fiery side to his cup tie now.
Trouble here. Charlie Hartfield's in trouble. He's off, Martin. Hartfield has a swing at Cantona. Crazy. Whether he reacted to something the Frenchman did, but it's a red card. Hartfield's the one. I'm sure it's Charlie Hartfield. I'm sure it's a 4.
Hartfield is going off.
You can't do that. You can't lift your hands and strike an opponent. That's what Hartfield's guilty of. It's balmy. They've had a good opening 15 minutes. It's the tackle initially that incenses everyone. And Nicky Butt. Don't think it's that one there. The tackle goes in there, but it's this one here, there. Now it's what happens from now. There it is, right in front of the referee.
Keane able to turn. Well, McClare's got Giggs in plenty of space on the left. Hughes and Cantona and Keane in the middle. Oh, against the post from Mark Hughes.
Now that was a super header from Hughes. It really was. Beautifully guided.
Irwin. Giggs. Well, someone had to get to him, and it was Paul Rodgers. Another corner. 5 minutes left in the first half. Wide from the header there.
I think it was Bruce, Martin.
Wow.
We were on Giggs, but I thought it was Bruce.
I thought it was Giggs straight away.
There's Steve Bruce coming in the back post before it is Giggs. Yeah. I mean, this is unlucky. He just tries to direct it, Ryan Giggs. It's at a tight angle, any touch from anyone. And that's a goal.
Whitehouse. Needs some support now. Rodgers. One back. by Keane, immediately thinking of the counter-attack. Roy Keane!
What a strike. What a strike. Won't hit many better than that. They backed off. He wins the ball. Look how far up the pitch he is. He wins it off Clint Hodges there, and they back off. You see Nielsen, and that's natural when your men's short. There's movement all around Roy Keane. He's got time to look, and well, he unleashes that. And I'm not so sure Alan Kelly would have gone across to that had that been on target. Maybe he would.
Viet. Bustled out of it by Sharp. Keane could go on and have a crack here. He's played it for Butt. Cantona! Oh, astonishing save! The goal seemed there for the taking. Cantona seemed to set off for the celebrations, and it stayed out.
Wow, that's an absolutely magnificent save from the goalkeeper. I, like you, thought, that's it. They've finally broken them down.
Goals into the action straight away. Keane. Hughes. But Cantona. Hughes. Keane did well then. It's Mark Hughes. They've finally made one count, and Hughes trying to make history repeat itself here. He got the winner a year ago, and he's put Manchester United in prime position to win again at Bramall Lane in the third round of the FA Cup.
Oh, it's a lovely ball from Giggs, Mark, though. It's right into the danger area. Hughes gets himself between the two centre-backs, and as it drops to him, well, it's a very confident header into the corner. They've knocked and knocked here at Manchester United in the second half, and finally the doors open.
Well, they've got Whitehouse, and they've got Scott, they've got Blake in the centre, and they've got a corner. Without Hodges, Starbuck has gone across to take it. Everyone back for Manchester United except Giggs. Well, Gale and Scott, I think it was, going for the same ball then. Starbuck puts it back in again. Away by Bruce. Hughes. There's a break on here. Cantona is free. Giggs has seen him. He's found him. Cantona looks for the chip. Oh, exquisitely done.
Game, set, match. Wonderful, wonderful piece of finishing from Eric Cantona. And it's the type of thing they do so often. 1 minute they're defending a corner, and in an instant they're at the other end of the pitch, and they've got themselves a goal. It's a good ball from Giggs again. He waits until it opens up for him, and he rolls a simple pass to Cantona. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and not even the gales can affect the quality and the accuracy of Cantona's chip. It's a beautiful finish, quite beautiful.
Starbuck. Viet. It's behind from Gage. Well, he's got to explain it all to Andy Gray in the boot room.
Well, I think the 13th minute will be a big part of that, Martin.
Well, history has repeated itself for Manchester United. Their cup run starts with a win at Bramall Lane, just as it did with it a year ago, with a Mark Hughes goal then as now, and a second, a collector's item, even by Cantona's standards. And of course, they will hope, Manchester United, that it will lead to the trophy that they currently hold once again.
So the brilliance of Cantona sealing the win over the battling Sheffield team, but those goals not coming until the last 10 minutes. The cup holders were at home to Wrexham in round 4, but were without Eric Cantona. His actions in that now infamous incident at Crystal Palace were quickly condemned by the club, who issued this statement.
Manchester United has today suspended Eric Cantona from all first-team matches for the remainder of the 1994-95 season.
So Eric's idle, but there's still a strong Gaelic flavour around Old Trafford. The Welsh Dragon was primed to fan the flames of controversy surrounding Manchester United, and without Cole and Hughes as well as Cantona, the Reds looked as though they might lack a little devil up front. His name was on everyone's lips. Wrexham fans chanted au revoir Cantona. The United supporters sang for his return. Wrexham took just 9 minutes to give the impression that United's torrid week was far from over. Kieran Durkin slipping in for the kill, and Wrexham's first ever goal against Manchester United. They'd met 4 times previously. Durkin, back from a spell in New Zealand, had scored one of the goals which had deposited Ipswich out of the cup in round 3. Perhaps the goal came too soon for Wrexham. It galvanised United, and the equaliser came 8 minutes later. The ball teed up for Dennis Irwin to drive it home. The goal settled United down. Gary Pallister's intervention gave Irwin a clear sight of goal, and Wrexham's brief flirtation with leading the cup holders on their own ground had been snatched away. United were now in their stride. Cantona's storming of the barrier at the Palace a receding memory for the Old Trafford faithful, and Ryan Giggs swept the ball home for the second before the half hour. The chance was set up by teenager Philip Neville, making his debut at left-back, another chip off the old block-busting United youth system. United now had the Dragon by the tail, and no one will come closer to a debut goal than Neville. Just a centimetre away from starting his career with the kind of strike a certain exiled Frenchman would have been proud of. Wrexham had come with 7,000 supporters and nothing to lose. And to their credit, they never let United take anything for granted. Pallister and Schmeichel having a gentle set too. At half-time, with Wrexham still in the match, the question remained, was there life after Cantona? United answered that with a vengeance. Gary Pallister planting a header against the crossbar from a corner by Ryan Giggs. And Roy Keane joined in the action as United went for the Dragons' jugular. Perhaps Keane, with a clear sight of goal, should have done better. But Wrexham refused to be counted out. Kieran Durkin had another chance to go for glory, but this time the magic just wasn't on hand. Soon after that, United finally put the leash on the underdogs. Note the killer pass from Gary Pallister inside the box. Brian McClair choosing his spot with radar precision to pierce the Wrexham defence. And 3-1 for Manchester United. The game was up for the Welsh. They were determined to go down fighting, but there's no answer to that kind of accuracy. Again, Brian Flynn's boys marched back into the attack, and Peter Schmeichel had to produce international form to keep them out. Barry Hunter forcing the first save. Steve Watkin, the hero of the win 2 years ago over Arsenal, denied from the corner. Manchester United extended their lead with a penalty. Paul Ince storming into the fray, in the football sense of course. Wrexham skipper Tony Humes is the guilty man in this situation. No arguments with the decision. Ince had nicked the ball away. And from the spot, Dennis Irwin stepped up for his second goal of the match. It's normally Cantona's job, but the Irishman proves to be a pretty able deputy. Skipper Tony Humes only managed to serve a 2-game suspension by playing a hastily rearranged game in the snow this week. He may have regretted that decision when his deflection gave United their 5th goal. 5 goals for United, all without the combined multi-million-pound talents of Eric Cantona, Andy Cole and Mark Hughes. Although the fairy tale was over for Wrexham, they did have the last word. Substitute Jonathan Cross hammering the ball home over the surprise Schmeichel. The shot gets a bit of topspin from a David May deflection to help it on its way, but Wrexham are on their way out. United are on the road again. Alex Ferguson has spent an agonising week at Old Trafford. Just playing football again must have been a relief. The first 90 minutes without Cantona successfully negotiated. Delight all round at United at the final whistle. And for Wrexham, will they bow out in style? Their attacking philosophy a credit to the club and its supporters. Manchester United 5, Wrexham 2.
The only way if we can achieve anything at Old Trafford, is to come and attack them. And I had a feeling we'd score, and it was, I think, we're the only team. Well, Nottingham Forest came here and scored 2 goals, and we're the only other side to come to Old Trafford this season and score 2 goals. So we've got to take something from that.
Wrexham playing their part in an entertaining match, and now it's another tough Yorkshire side as Leeds visit Old Trafford in round 5. Leeds had won 2-1 at Elland Road in the Premiership back in November, and would Manchester United miss their multi-million-pound man who had scored in their 2 previous Premiership matches.
Andy Cole makes his way to his seat in the stand. It's a cup campaign he'll have to sit and watch for Manchester United. Cup side, of course. Referee Mike Reed from Birmingham gets us underway. Dennis Irwin looking for Hughes as he makes his return into a typically rumbustious piece of action early on with David Weatherall. I reckon he's about 80% fit, Hughes. Owen with the free kick. It's gone behind for a corner. Awkward one for the Leeds defence to deal with. I think it was Noel Whelan getting back and making that header. Giggs will take it. Looking for Bruce. And Steve Bruce has scored! A sensational start! 60 seconds on the clock! And Manchester United lead Leeds United by a goal to nil! Steve Bruce rising high and powering it in. It was a beautifully delivered corner, and the United skipper gets his 2nd goal of the campaign. And what a start to this game. Well, McClare was doing all the harrying there. United scored with their first corner of the game from the other side. Giggs will take this one as well. Gary Speed with a header behind. Here it comes now. Manchester United are 2 up. It's Brian McClare. A dream start for the holders. They've had 3 corners. They've scored from 2. Beautifully delivered again. Whipped in. The little flick on. And expertly taken by McClare. Hughes wins that one. Giggs, is he in? Well, it was quite a good chance, in fact. Just got in front of the Leeds defence. Again. This is Keane. Sharp. Will it fall for Giggs? Gary Kelly's there. Well, Manchester United just kept possession almost at will then before launching the attack. It was almost continental. Again with the corner. looking for Ince. Straight into John Lukic in the end. Pallister up in front of Ince, in fact. Straight at the keeper. Ince in charge in the air. Harry Kelly with the interception, though. Devin White's making the run from McAllister's pass. He's won the free kick. Whelan. Masinga. Just opened up momentarily for him. Worthington. This is Dorigo. He's looking for Yeboah. Schmeichel had to get down and fast. So Yeboah announces himself as a threat already in this game. It's a good header. Pemberton kicks again. Swallows header away. Ince was caught very high by David White. Well, John Lukic facing an awkward situation then. 4 men in the wall to either side. Giggs standing over the ball. Owen and Kanchelskis there too. Just urging Noel Whelan it is, on the right to get back. Kanchelskis. Off the bar, Lukic saved it. Keane. Breathtaking stuff. Kanchelskis with the initial shot. Lukic parried it under the crossbar. And that's how close Manchester United were from taking a 3-0 lead. David White. Yeboah! And Tony Yeboah has brought Leeds back in the game. It's his first goal for Leeds United since his £3.4 million move. And since coming on as a half-time substitute, it's taken him less than 7.5 minutes. White stretched ever so well. And Yeboah just tapped it in. Again the surge from end to end. Kanchelskis again. Hughes. This is Giggs. Did well to make room for the shot. This is Keane. Gary Speed making life difficult for him. Claire. Ince makes the run ahead. This is Ince. And now for Kanchelskis. Looking for Hughes. Mark Hughes. 3-1 to Manchester United. His first game back after injury. An Old Trafford favourite. And he marks his return with a superbly taken goal. He made it look so easy. Kanchelskis striking terror into the heart of the Leeds defence. And back where it came from and into the back of the net. Pallister read that well. Kanchelskis again. What can he do from a similar situation? Goes himself. Giggs. They're loving it, aren't they? Pemberton has illegally knocked Mark Hughes to the ground. McClare's quick free kick for Giggs. Kanchelskis is the only man anywhere near the middle. Giggs on his own. Kanchelskis! Well, it was a bad miss. Giggs is revelling in this afternoon now. Did everything right. Kanchelskis, unfortunately, didn't. Speed for McAllister. Schmeichel down safely. And what is probably a parting shot from Gary McAllister with the full-time whistle only a matter of seconds away. And there it goes. Manchester United go into the quarter-finals. The holders' grip on the FA Cup is firm. They've beaten Leeds United by 3 goals to 1. Mark Hughes got the third in the second half after Tony Yeboah had dragged Leeds back to only 2-1 down. Those early goals from Steve Bruce and Brian McClare had put Manchester United in the driving seat, and they were not to be shaken out of it. It's Manchester United who go into the last leg. They've beaten Leeds by 3 goals to 1.
2 goals in the first 5 minutes, the key into the 6th round at Old Trafford, where a warm welcome awaited the former United favourite Ray Wilkins and his Queen's Park Rangers side. Wilkins, who served United for 5 years between 79 and 85, was an FA Cup winner with them in 1983, and he would have been impressed by the changes at the ground over 10 years. A super stadium.
Thanks for Gary Neville. Kanchelskis. He's beaten 2, Wilson and Holloway. Wilson has a second bite. Manchester United still have the ball, even if there was a foul. Dermot Gallagher wanting the game to go on. Kanchelskis with the cross. First to it was Ryan Giggs. Rangers were a bit on the back foot then and didn't cover the movement towards the near post.
Difficult chance though for Giggs, wasn't easy. You see Danny Marriott caught a little bit ball watching. Giggs timed his run to perfection. And all he can do when the ball arrived was stab it. It was a difficult ball to take control of. It had to be first time. It had to be instinctive, that's what it was. And it almost tested the goalkeeper.
Neville trying to quicken it up with ball by Kanchelskis. Neville already herring up for the return pass. Cleverly fashioned by Kanchelskis. Hughes, Sharp, the space here, he's moved into it. Lee Sharp, blocked by Roberts, comes for Hughes. Great tackle by McDonald. Worst moment for Queen's Park Rangers so far, but they've survived it.
Wonderful football all round, both attacking and defensively.
Impey. Well, just when we were beginning to think they were going to get through the first 20 minutes, which was bound to be a target for Ray Wilkins without anything untoward happening at the back, Sharp sped into the area then, but Roberts blocked. Was played forward, not typically by Wilson. He put up his hand and apologised to Ferdinand straight away. He was concerned in getting the ball out of his own half, but not really concerned about whether anyone would be able to receive it. Hughes for Giggs. Sharp goes outside him. Gets the better of Bardsley. Lee Sharp, 1-0 to Manchester United. Halfway through the first half.
Well, when the ball's played in the air, Martin, Alan McDonald will fancy his chances of dominating Mark Hughes, but what Mark Hughes does very well, he backed off against him and he brought it down, so then they were in trouble right at the edge of the box. They got a little bit of luck, but it was finished so well by Lee Sharp. Really drills it into the far corner. They get a little bit of luck in there. Bardsley doesn't quite clear it, but that's a great finish.
Well, Lee Sharp, who came back from a lengthy injury absence in the 3rd round at Sheffield United makes a contribution here in the 6th round against Queen's Park Rangers, and here's Giggs. There's no one up with him. He is adjudged to have been hanging on to Danny Maddox. Manchester United thought that might go their way.
Well, Andy Cole is wearing his lucky hat. He's sitting in the same seat that he occupied in the last 2 rounds, cup side of course. Yeah, maybe a little bit bashful there knowing the camera's on him. So even when you're not eligible to play, you can still be part of the superstitions and feel that you're doing your bit.
Three surrounding it, the odds in Queen's Park Rangers' favour, and it's panned out that way. This is Brevitt. Ferdinand. Well, there was plenty of power in the shot. He was pressed as he released it.
Well, they earned that chance by pressing that man. Paul Ince in the centre of midfield, 3 men around them. Barker really bit into the tackle and away they went. And at last they sprang Les with facing the goal 20 yards out. They can really tuck them in from that sort of range, not frightened to have a goal. As Manchester United found out earlier in the season in the league match from even further out. They didn't quite catch it.
Queen's Park Rangers certainly don't want to do is concede a second before half-time. There's a risk of that. It's Sharp. Takes it on. Here's Hughes. They're not getting too much space. The Queen's Park Rangers organisation has seen to that. But they have conceded their first goal in the FA Cup this season. It was scored by Lee Sharp. Mark Hughes helped set it up. Coming down to the halfway line for the substitution to be properly orchestrated. Ryan Giggs is the player who will not be involved in the second half. And it's quite a surprise that Keane has been available today. He had to convince Alec Ferguson this morning that he'd recovered from this hamstring strain that saw him come off in a 9-0 demolition of Ipswich last weekend. So it's Keane for Giggs. It's 1-0 Manchester United as the second half starts here. Impey.
On the face of it, Mark, you'd think that maybe they'd push Brian McClare up front with Mark Hughes, but I think the movements are good from the midfield area. I think what they're going to do second half, Roy Keane will play midfield, I feel sure about that. But so will McClare, and they'll just say to Sparky, you play up front, we'll get plenty of runners around you.
Nick Collins will tell us why there's been a change.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's an injury to Ryan Giggs, that's why. A calf injury.
Keane, very nearly coming in sensational fashion. Calf injury for Ryan Giggs. Roy Keane on, a runner from midfield par excellence. He destroyed Queen's Park Rangers down at Loftus Road in the end in December with his movement from that part of the pitch, and he very nearly put this cup tie beyond redress, you would feel, a second goal. Impey have to do a lot on the ball. The odds were against him. Sharp. Manchester United already share the record for lifting the world-famous trophy. They've done it 8 times, the same as Tottenham. 12 appearances in the final, also a landmark of the competition, equal only by Arsenal. Scenting FA Cup glory again. But what they've got here is a very competitive opposition in the shape of Queen's Park Rangers. Lashed out at Hughes, and Queen's Park Rangers maybe have seen a moment of suicide here. They've been disciplined, they've defended, the whistle had gone, I think, in Manchester United's favour.
He's given a free kick against Danny Maddox. It looks very calm there, McGarry. There's a problem. We've talked about it earlier on the goal. Hughes backs into players. You know, that's always difficult for a referee. 6-1, Danny Maddox feels that Mark Hughes had a little nudge at him there.
Sharp is there, Kanchelskis as well. Queen's Park Rangers, as you'd expect, have pulled everyone back. Roberts trying to peer wide of the wall to see it. Owen takes it, he can't see it, it's in the corner, it's 2-0 to Manchester United. Dennis Owen, with his speciality, a swerving free kick, a smile from the manager. And United will feel they're well on the way into the semi-final. Queen's Park Rangers are not best pleased. They go to the referee.
They do, Martin, but I don't think they've got much cause. Look at he was frightened to death, I think, Tony Roberts, of Dennis Irwin chipping this into the opposite corner, and I think he won a battle of wills there, Dennis Irwin. The goalkeeper edged to his right a little bit, and Irwin bent into the corner that he left vacated. It was a super free kick.
Wilson. Ferdinand got it back, and Schmeichel has contributed to this Manchester United performance here, because had it been 2-1 a second or two ago, it would have been set up for a grandstand finish. And Les Ferdinand robbed of a goal by the diving Dane. Still there to be rolled though. It's not the strongest part of Andy Impey's game, his goal getting, but in the circumstances, had to take the gamble.
Well, they've stuck at it second half, I'll say that for Queen's Park Rangers, Mark. No heads have dropped, they've kept plugging away. But I have felt that since Dennis Irwin's second goal, it was something of a, well, forlorn job really.
Well, the double is still alive. The FA Cup holders stride into the semi-final. Dennis Irwin's goal, the second of the game, secured it really early in the second half from a fabulous free kick. And Old Trafford is the end of this particular road for Queen's Park Rangers.
So into the semi-final, one match away from Wembley and the end of the road. Opponents Crystal Palace have beaten Wolves 4-1 in a sixth-round replay to claim their place.
Crystal Palace will be hoping that this is to be a weekend for the outsider. Well, they may be just slightly concerned that Crystal Spirit didn't quite stay the distance at Aintree. They attack the goal to our right, where the north end plays host to their supporters. So thereby defended by Peter Schmeichel. Early corner. First challenge between Chris Armstrong and Roy Keane. Manchester United wearing their, dare I say it, Sheffield Wednesday strip. Eric Young is forward in the box. Aaron Pitcher, who tried the shot, not quite as successful as his one at Molineux. John Salako. The free kick is to Manchester United. Hughes, Giggs. Lee Sharp has made a really good run. And Nigel Martin just grabbing it in time from the feet of David Beckham. Really good run by Lee Sharp. He covered 2/3 of the field. There he is at the top of the picture. That's just the end of his run. Tried to pull it back, and Martin just got there ahead of Beckham. Some concern, obviously, about a broken finger. Alan Smith. Alec Ferguson alongside his chairman in the stand. Salako to deliver the long one. Dowie on the near edge of the 6-yard area. It's a teaser. It was brushed off the crossbar by Schmeichel. Salako at the back. And Dowie! The man they brought from Southampton gets the opening goal. That was palmed away, not particularly well by Schmeichel. He will now wish he'd put it over the crossbar. Returned back by Armstrong, the header in, by Salako. The nod over the line from Ian Dowie. Alec Ferguson looking a little agitated. Referee has allowed 2 minutes of stoppage time. Dowie. Armstrong waits and he's not well marked. And the last incident of the half is at the end, where Ian Dowie scored the one goal in the 33rd minute, which puts Alan Smith's side into the lead. Wembley that little bit closer. Oh, one goal was enough to decide the only previous FA Cup tie between these two sides. In the final of 1990, it came in the replay after a 3-3 draw. Young clears the first Manchester United attack. They haven't lost at this stage of an FA Cup competition since 1970, when they lost in the third match to Leeds United. Here's McClare, good block by Young. Appeal for handball against Pitcher. Certainly inadvertent if it was hands. Martin can't get there, but it's wide. But sharp termination from Houghton, but on this occasion not enough. Roy Keane. Neville, everything now to his left. Shaw. Ince. Forced across by Southgate, foul by Southgate. Opportunity perhaps for Dennis Irwin. There's no doubt. Decision correct. Free kick against the Crystal Palace captain. Irwin has placed the ball. Giggs is alongside it. Martin is happy that the left side of his goal from his viewpoint is covered. Could be Irwin one way or Giggs the other. It's Irwin. Oh, it's a brilliant goal! Wasn't much room to put it, but he found the gap. Nigel Martin beaten. It got a deflection of Houghton. Watch the deflection here. Houghton got up. I have to say, I can never understand why small players are put in the middle of a wall. But that's what the goal meant to Alec Ferguson. Southgate. Salako. It's a casual one from Butt. Extra time. David Ellery, like everyone else, will have to wait for an extra half an hour at least. Teams back as they were at the start of the match. Crystal Palace playing left to right. Ince sending Sharp on his way for the first attack of the half. Then to his right. Oh! Brian McClare. Lee Sharp. Stretch by McClare. Close to his third goal of the campaign. Here's Armstrong. Still Armstrong! Yes! But he's threatened to make his pace count, and his manager almost matching that pace. And finally, Chris Armstrong does come up with the goods, to their obvious delight. Palace in the lead for the second time. For a moment it looked as though Keane would get to him. It bobbled a bit, but he got it over the goalkeeper this time. And Crystal Palace lead by 2-1. Leclerc. True that one man doesn't make a team, but one man can certainly change the character of a team and give it added invention. Bannister! He doesn't get many, but he's got a crucial one in this semi-final. Takes his season's tally to, for him, a mind-boggling 3. Just beat everybody as he nodded it to his left. 2-2. Big smile on the face of Alec Ferguson. It would be the fairest decision if it goes to a replay. Cross beats everybody. And a replay next Wednesday it will be. Handshake from Alan Smith to everybody he can find. Finally finds Alec Ferguson. They will come back here again after a 2-2 draw. Dowie putting Crystal Palace in front for the first time. His goal wiped out by Dennis Irwin. Armstrong putting Palace in front for a second time. His goal wiped out by Gary Pallister. Final score, except that it's not final because the replay will be needed to decide who goes to Wembley, is 2-2.
The replay was back at Villa Park 3 days later. A draw here would result in penalties to decide who goes to Wembley.
The second instalment of the semi-final is underway. Here's Gordon. Dowie. Ball forward by Pitcher. The times of the goals reflected the shape of the first game. Palace, when Dowie scored, have had the better of the first half of normal time. United clearly superior in the second. Both sides scored in an evenly contested period of extra time. Dowie. Fitness will also be a factor, you feel, tonight. Who's got the greater amount of fuel left in the tank? Sharp. It's a fine ball. It troubled Richard Shaw and he did well to scrape it outside that near post.
Clever ball, Mark. Clever ball for the Sharp.
They've certainly begun tonight, Manchester United, better than they did the first game. Bruce comes back for Butt, then for Giggs, fine try. It's a goal kick.
That was a great strike. Great example. Striking a difficult ball. He had to let the ball come across his body. He got really good body shape. Look at this. He steps across that ball and then hits it with bend. Oh, dearie me. He thought for a moment that was sneaking in, didn't he? Ryan, I think he thought that's just nipping in the bottom corner.
Salaka, a little bit of space. Chance to take on Neville, perhaps. That's there to help him out. It spins away off Nicky Butt for a corner.
Thought Gary Neville played John Salaka really well on Sunday. He really didn't give him much of a chance.
Comes Eric Young. The best part of 25 minutes gone. That's Dowie! Well, no one ran with him.
I don't care what anyone says, that's a chance in my book. In a game of this, he missed a very important header on Sunday. Now look, he's on, no one near him, absolutely no one. Now he's one of the strongest headers of the ball. You would have him earmarked, I'm sure, before they even come out here tonight. Probably not his strongest side coming from there. Well, that wouldn't have made the header an easy one.
Owen. It's a corner. Well, Crystal Palace might beware the opposing left-back. It was Lee Martin in that position that won the FA Cup final in 1990 between these two clubs. That's Bruce! Manchester United are in front in this semi-final for the first time, and Steve Bruce marks his comeback with a thumping header past Reece Wilmot.
Well, Darren Patterson's the one caught with Bruce. Now watch this, the difference here is Bruce made that his. The young defender didn't attack it, now he should have done. He's caught with Bruce, they're going to attack it and you'll win it, son. He didn't do that. But I tell you what, Steve Bruce gave a great example of wanting to win a header. He put himself in there, look at that. Body into it, everything. And that's what made the difference. He was more determined than the man marking him.
Alan Smith always said his main priority to retain the spot in this division. Hughes trying to unnerve Wilmot.
Can you imagine, Martin, if the scoreline stays the same? How was this semi-final settled, lads? On the replacement of a contact lens, because Ian Dowie wasn't back to mark the man he should have been.
Foul by Shaw. At that time, even Richard Shaw's speed of recovery wasn't enough. Dennis Irwin had timed his run well. It's a free kick. And now Ian Dowie is marking Steve Bruce. Alistair is free and it's 2-0.
Well, the two centre-backs have really made them pay for some poor defending. I cannot believe for the life of me that the most dangerous man they've got gets a free header. He loses Gareth Southgate, to be fair, brilliantly. That's a superb run, worthy of the best strikers in the game. You watch the way he takes him forward, skips in behind him, and that's a towering header, it really was. Look at that, he's pulled behind Gareth Southgate, lost him totally. Well, I've done him an injustice. That was super play from Pallister. Fantastic run, and a great header.
Player who usually leaves it really to Steve Bruce to gain the honours at the set pieces. He's getting the taste. Well, no Cole, no Cantona, no Kanchelskis with it. Matters not when you've got committed defenders like Steve Bruce who will go upfield and butt the ball into the opponent's net, and Gary Pallister following the example. And Manchester United go off here at half-time in very good shape indeed. Nicely stirred up by Armstrong. Southgate. Well, Roy Keane has lit the fuse here, and a real explosion of emotion. One or two Manchester United players, notably Irwin, believing that Southgate made more of that than was necessary. Southgate seemed to me to expect Keane to go over the top. Well, on a night when the players have even more responsibility to set the right example, and in the heat of the battle, Crystal Palace seeing the semi-final ebbing away. Roy Keane, for whom every contest is a cup tie, but he's off. Keane is sent off. Now what's going to happen for Patterson here? So Patterson, who, as I said a moment or two ago, goes up to the Football Association tomorrow. He's already passed 41 points. And he will... Now, Alan Smith's supposed to argue that case. But what can he say when this has happened tonight? Now, Southgate stays. Or does he? David Ellery, yes.
Well, he's given a decision, a free kick for Manchester United. Well, I think Gareth Southgate's a lucky boy. Certainly the tackle he put in Roy Keane. I've seen people booked for that type of tackle. I think it's a combination that's seen the end of Roy Keane tonight. First of all the tackle, then the reaction.
Sharp has sure slipped. Wonderful save by Wilmot. Well, the end of the skirmishing and back to the skill from Sharp and from the goalkeeper.
Well, it's great skill from Sharp here to control that difficult ball. Inside Shaw, drills it near post. You would expect the goalkeeper to save that.
Well, that's beautiful work by Manchester United against flagging Palace resistance. Owen, brilliant stop by Wilmot. The possession suddenly came to purpose for Alec Ferguson's team. Flying forward went Owen.
And when he gets forward, he's looking to pull it into his strong side. Not interested in play. He knows he's got lack of support really as well. It drives inside. Hits it super.
It's Manchester United against Everton on May the 20th. A rerun of 1985 in 1995. The holders go back to Wembley. Thanks to first half goals here. Headers from set pieces from Steve Bruce on his return to the side after suspension, and Gary Pallister.
It was a bit frustrating Sunday, but tonight made up for it, and to score a goal is just an added bonus, really.
But from your point of view, is that the perfect way to score a goal from a set piece like that?
Well, it's always nice to score, and it's a set piece what we often rehearse, and I've managed to stick a head on it. I thought I'd come out first of all, but thankfully it's...
No, that's straight in, there's no question of that.
Very nice.
Gary, congratulations to you too. A strange kind of semi-final for you. 2 bookings and 2 goals.
Yeah, 2 bookings and 2 goals. I'm more pleased with the 2 goals, I think. Yeah, it was great to get on the end of another cross. Sharpie knocked a great ball in, and I'm trying to catch up with Bruce again this year.
A case of anything he can do, you can do better. Gary, you've been named the Littlewoods Pool's man of the match. Steve, perhaps you might present it to him. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Smiles all round as Manchester United go to Wembley hoping to retain the FA Cup and set a record of 9 outright wins. They face Everton at the end of the road.